Hello and welcome. If you're watching this video, I expect it means you're considering becoming a member of my Patreon community. I'm so glad you're here. This video will give a brief overview of who I am, the sorts of things I've done, why I chose Patreon as a platform, and, perhaps most importantly, what you'll get from joining this community. So to start off with, hi, I'm Cass Morris. I write books, I love rhetoric, I teach, I love history. I have, at various points in my life, worked for the American Shakespeare Center in Stanton, Virginia, a science museum, a Renaissance fair, a murder mystery dinner theater company, an independent bookshop, an independent movie theater, a community college, and Santa's Village. Yes, Santa's Village. I've also volunteered on the staffs of various fandom conventions. I ran text-based RPGs back in the days of LiveJournal. I also love and play tabletop RPGs, though I vastly prefer the FFG Genesis system to D&D. More narrative, less math. I also love going to cons. One of the best things about being a writer is getting to do panels and talk with other creators. It's just the most joyous thing. I love it. I'm very much a closet cosplayer, and if there's a convention dance or a masquerade ball, I am there. I'm also one of the co-hosts of the Hugo Award finalist podcast, World Building for Masochists, which takes a deep look at different aspects of constructing and creating fantasy worlds. So I have a lot of experience in some pretty different areas of life. I live at the intersection of storytelling, education, and performance, and what ties it all together is a very deep love for how words and stories work. I explore the intersection of all of these things with, I hope, an engaging approach and passionate delivery. I am trying to shape a life that is financially viable while also giving me the flexibility to do the writing and the other kinds of work that I want to do. And that's where Patreon comes in. So why Patreon? It's partly because making a living as a writer is hard. It's really hard. Most years, instead of one job, I have 3 to 5 income streams, including things like teaching, retail, and freelancing. Patreon is an incredibly important income stream for me. It started out as a supplement, but through various unanticipated life changes, as well as a global pandemic, it's become something I really rely on. But despite all of that, it isn't only about the money. This platform allows me to do some things that traditional publishing really doesn't, like my Mages of Aven series, where I am exploring the world of my books, one mage at a time, one citizen of this nation at a time, in 100-word snippets. That's not the kind of thing that traditional publishing takes an interest in, but it's the kind of side project I love to do. It helps me understand the world of these books better. So I'm so glad that I have a place like this where I can share that kind of material. It also gives me a place to continue exploring my interest in Shakespeare and rhetoric when I'm not under the auspices of an institution. It gives me an outlet for that because, as anyone who knows me could tell you, it is literally impossible to keep me from performing rhetorical analysis. I do it to TV commercials. I can't help myself, so Patreon gives me that outlet as well. It's a way to share all of the odds and ends, too. The things that get cut, but that I still think are valuable and that I loved. Some of the false steps and the misstarts that are an important part of the writing process. That, too, allows me to talk shop a little bit for people who are interested in publishing, whether they're trying to become writers themselves or they just like having that sort of behind-the-page look at what goes on into making a book. I can be honest here, in a way that I can't always on my more public channels. It's not encouraged to talk that kind of shop sometimes, but here I can do that. And I really value the community that has grown up around this Patreon and that allows me to do that. So what do you get as a patron? I hope to bring you an intellectually exciting and imagination-sparking experience. I want to share my love of words and storytelling and perhaps inspire you to start telling your own stories or to further your journey on that if it's something you're already interested in. But down to the basics. Basic support starts at $2 a month, and that gets you major announcements and whatever the current rhetoric project is. It also gets you access to all of the past rhetoric projects. There's been a lot of them. At the time of this filming, I had already completed a rhetorical analysis of every song in Hamilton, as well as I'm about 2/3 of the way through Romeo and Juliet. Once I finish that play, we'll see what comes next. At $5 a month, you really get content overload. This is what gets you the full feed of all of my different posts. And I post 2 to 4 times a week. Sometimes that's really little things like the Mages of Aven series, 100 words at a time, easy to read and on the go. Sometimes it's video diaries where I talk about writing and publishing and other things going on in my creative life. Sometimes it's that behind the page material I talked about. Sometimes it's Shakespearean monologues that I just had a hankering to deliver. Sometimes it's more rhetoric. Sometimes it's other bits and pieces of things I wrote that didn't take off, or you'll start getting soon some extra special glimpses into my next project once I wrap up the Aven cycle. Look for those later this year. At $8 a month, you get the full feed as well as a handwritten thank you note from me and occasional postcards. Whenever I do a new printing, I'll be sending them out to all my patrons at the $8 level and up. You also get some fancy swag on Discord. If you join the Aven Cycle Discord server, you will get your name in a fancy, fancy color, and you'll be noted as one of Aven's senators. So much easier than having to go through an election, right? At $15 a month, you get all of the above plus a 3-card tarot reading. At $25 a month, you get all of that, but instead of the 3-card reading, you get a 10-card Aven-themed tarot reading. It follows the magical elements. It's a design I came up with myself. I love doing tarot readings, and I'm really pleased with that one and how it's structured. At the major level, if you want to become a consul of Aven, at $50 a month, you get all of the above, plus acknowledgement in my novels and a signed copy of From Unseen Fire. Or if you already have a copy of that or have a signed copy of that already, we'll swap it out for a signed copy of whatever my most recent book is at the time of your pledge. So right now that would be giveaway tonight. Pretty soon it'll be Aven 3, and then we'll see where it goes in future years. I want to express my deep gratitude to all of my patrons, past, current, and future. Your support helps me keep doing the things I love. And I love doing this. I love doing the Patreon posts. I love being able to share the behind the scenes looks. This work and the weekly postings also keep me accountable to myself in a really exciting way. I am overjoyed every time one of these posts resonates with y'all and I get to see the likes, the comments, and the Discord chatter about it. I love talking to you all. I love getting your feedback. I love hearing from you. I love knowing that someone else out there is enjoying words and enjoying Shakespeare or Rome or whatever it is I'm talking about that week as much as I do. So thank you for your consideration, and I hope I'll see you on Patreon soon.